Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Emily. I post a ton of bookish content on here for you guys. For today's video, we are actually going to be doing a ranking of popular books, specifically TikTok-esque books that have been popular over the last month or two. But before that, we are actually gonna go read at a coffee shop. So I figured I'd bring you guys with me for that since it's now turning into fall. It's a vibe to go get a nice warm beverage and read at a coffee shop. So that's what we're gonna do, and then we will come back home and begin our ranking. Let's pack our bag for the coffee shop. So literally all I need to bring is my phone, which I don't really put in my bag, obviously. I do like to bring some sort of thing to play with just in case. So I have this little guy, little Nido pig. He makes gross noises. And then the two book options I'm going to be bringing, which I know I'm going to be reading this one way more than the other one because the other one I'm flying through because it's a graphic novel, but this one I do want to get maybe another 100 pages in today, and that is A Court of Wings and Ruin. So that is definitely the first book I'm bringing with me. And then I've been reading this cute 13+ graphic novel called Life of Melody, and I'm already almost halfway done it. So I'm gonna bring it just in case I need a break from A Court of Wings and Ruin because it is a lot to handle sometimes, and I haven't really read a fantasy like this in a while. I think the last one I read was The Cruel Prince, but it was much more modern. So yeah. Oh, and then I like to theme my annotating materials to the book that I'm reading. So we have this pink guy here, and then I will also use this guy. So that is everything I'm gonna bring. We're all good to go. Hello you guys, I just dropped off Nick at work and now I am heading over to Starbucks to do some reading. I will say I did bring a few books for photo shoot opportunities because I live really close to the beach, so I might do that at some point too in this video. And I also forgot to bring a package with me to send out for an order, so I don't know if I'm gonna do that now or if I'm just gonna wait and do it later, but that is something on my mind as well. Okay, so I just got here and I am realizing now that the pumpkin cream cold brew is now available. I really do want a hot beverage, but I might change my mind last minute and get that because it's been way too long since I've had one. So we'll see what I do, but I'm here, so let's go inside. Hello friends, we are back from our Starbucks me time and the beach, and it's time to rate some popular books. I'm going to be doing a lot of books that are super popular on Bookstagram and TikTok specifically, and I also wanted to mention that these are books that I've researched and found that they're pretty popular. There are so many more out there that are probably even more popular, honestly. And also I made this whole ranking system myself, so I'm gonna let you guys know what they all are. And just a disclaimer, these are all my thoughts, and if any of these books are your absolute favorites that I just haven't read or I might not have liked, it is absolutely okay. We can all like our own books, and we all have our own tastes. So I just want to put that out there, but let's dive into this part. I'm so excited to talk about everything. I'm just gonna move to the side a little bit so that you guys can see my beautiful ranking system that I made. So at the very top we have God Tier. I will forever think about this book. These are 5+ star rated books, or they could even be 4 stars that have just changed my life in certain ways that I can't stop thinking about. The next is The Best, at least a 4 out of 5 stars in my eyes, and pretty dang good. So that is the next one. The next one after that is Pretty Good. Nothing out of this world, but I would recommend it to anyone. Next up is So-So, not memorable, and would maybe recommend depending on the person. The next one is probably my favorite one, and it's Oh Boy. Read it, didn't like it, not for me. So it doesn't mean that it's not for you. It just wasn't for me, and I really didn't like it. And the last one looks like it has a negative connotation to it, but I swear it could be one or the other of these two options. It's either on my TBR and I just haven't read it yet, so I can't really say, or it's like, no idea what this is about, don't really want to read it. So let's get started with our first one. We're starting off with a bang with It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. If you know me, I love Colleen Hoover, and I did really love this book. I initially gave it a 5 out of 5, but now that I've read more of her books and have experienced different writing throughout the last year, I would probably rate this a little bit lower. I still really loved it though. It's just not one of those books that's like I am always thinking about it, so I am gonna put this in the best. Next up we have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and shamefully, I must say, I have not read this yet. I do have a plan to read it in November, so be on the lookout for my November wrap-up. I swear I'm reading it and I cannot wait to. So it does have to go on that bottom column of /TBR because it is 120,000,000% on my TBR. Next up we have A Court of Thorns and Roses, and it's funny because I'm pretty sure I rated this like a 3.5 or a 4 out of 5, and I rated It Ends With Us better, but this whole series, like the ACOTAR series, just has my heart. So this is gonna go in God tier, my first God tier. I adore this series. I love Feyre, I love Rhysand, I just love the story. So first God tier is A Court of Thorns and Roses. Next up we have The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This was one of my first thrillers that I read like 2 years ago, and I loved it. The plot twist at the end was amazing. It's funny how this book has kind of come full circle, because like 2 years ago it got really popular and it's now really popular again. It could just be because of the fall season that people are starting to read like more thrillers, but nonetheless, I love this book. I rated it a 5 out of 5. Would I say it's one I think about all the time? No, but it is going in the best because it deserves that spot. Next up we have Where the Crawdads Sing, and this is going to be a little controversial, but this is not a TBR book. I do not plan on reading this book. However, it's not a either. It's one that I actually know a lot about because of working at a bookstore, and it just genuinely doesn't interest me. I'm sorry if it's one of your favorite books, but like, it's not for me. I'm never gonna read it. Next up we have Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman, and this is actually on my TBR. I just purchased this like a couple weeks ago, and it sounds like it's gonna be so good. So this is going in the bottom one only because I haven't read it yet, but it is on my TBR, so I'm very excited to get to that one. Next up we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and this one I struggled with a little bit. I'm still kind of struggling, honestly, internally about it, but I think I'm gonna put it in the pretty good column of this ranking. It's nothing out of this world, but I would recommend it to anyone. I just think that it's not going to be for everyone, if that makes sense, but I wholeheartedly did enjoy this book. I rated it a 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was beautifully written, and the second half of the story was so it's amazing, okay? I do recommend you go read this. It's just not the best, but it's also not God tier, so it's pretty good. Next up we have Verity by Colleen Hoover. God tier. Do I have to say anything else? This book is immaculate. So many thrills, so many plot twists. It's spicy. It is perfect for thriller spooky season, and it's always going to be a favorite of mine. I adore this book. It was my first Colleen Hoover actually, so this is God tier for sure. Next up we have The Hating Game. The Hating Game is what I was introduced to romance with, and I'm forever grateful for this book. I don't think it's God tier. I have long since kind of forgotten what a lot of the plot is about, not gonna lie, but it was still one of the best romances to get me into reading romance, so I have to give it the best. It is one of the best romances I have read that is like a workplace, forced proximity type thing, so I do really enjoy this one. It's just not God tier, but I do think it's better than pretty good. It's kind of like in between pretty good and the best for me, I guess. I don't know. Next up we have The Love Hypothesis, and again, shamefully, have not read it yet. I have it. I need to freaking read it, you guys. Someone please, in my books on Instagram or something, someone message me and give me reasons convincing me I need to read it like right now, because I have it on my shelf and I keep saying I'm gonna read it and I still haven't. So It goes into the TBR ranking, but I really want to read it soon, and I swear I will. Next up we have Shatter Me, and this one has been going viral for the last like month and a half, 2 months, and I did read it. I read it pretty recently and I did enjoy it, and I can't wait to finish the entire series as a whole, but I'm just going to be putting it in pretty good. It's definitely not the best dystopian YA I've read. I am intrigued at what's going to happen, but it's just pretty good. Like, I would recommend it to a friend, but I'm not going to be like, this is one of my favorite books, you have to read it. That's my thought right now. But also I've heard that when you go throughout the series, it just gets better and better. So for the first book, it's pretty good. Oh my god. Beach read, Emily Henry, God tier. It's about January and Augustus, and they are both writers. They have writer's block, and they make a deal to write each other's genres, and it's kind of like two insanely flawed characters with a lot of childhood trauma who come together and without even knowing it help each other, and it's just so cute. I loved this book. I want to do like a top 5 favorite books of 2022, and I think this might be in it, but regardless, this is God tier. I am going to be thinking about this book for so long. Another controversial one coming up, guys, but The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. It was so-so. Not very memorable for me. I don't remember what happened, honestly. And I would recommend it to some people, specifically people who do like YA fantasy. If you're not a YA fantasy type person, I don't know if this is the one you should go for, because it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but it didn't really do much for me, to be honest. I've heard the second and third book are way better, so maybe once I'm done the series as a whole, I can recommend it. But for now, so-so. Alright, we got Normal People by Sally Rooney. The best. It's the best, honestly. A lot of people maybe don't like this book. It's definitely different from all of the other books here, I would say. It's a contemporary fiction. It's women's fiction. It is such a beautiful story about two
normal people
go about high school and college and just their young adulthood, trying to figure out who they are, what they want, if they want each other. And the writing to me was immaculate. It was beautiful, so poetic, and just one of the best in my opinion. So I really like Sally Rooney. You're either a lover or a hater, and I'm a lover. Next up we got Book Lovers. Guys, please don't come for me for this one, because I did really like this book. However, it's not the best. I did rate it a 4 out of 5. It's just not the best to me. Like, I didn't relate or connect with the characters in this one as much as I did Beach Read, and I don't know if this is pretty good either. It's just in the middle of the best and pretty good for me, but I had to put it in pretty good. So nothing out of this world, but I would recommend it, and I would recommend it to a lot of people. So that's all I have to say. It was really good. It just, I don't know, it's just not the best. Next up we got Daisy Jones and the Six. Top tier. God tier. Such a good book. This is one of probably my top 5s of the year as well. I was so emotional reading this book, such a roller coaster. If you haven't read it, you definitely should. Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing is so mature, so beautiful, and this story was just out of left field for me. It's never something I would expect to read, but it blew me away. That is God tier, and I will forever think about that book. Next up we have The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Still haven't read it. Honestly, out of all these books, I think this is the one I'm most disappointed in myself for not reading yet. I have told myself I was going to read it this month and then that month, and it still hasn't happened. I think it needs to be something I need to read by the end of the year. We should make that a goal. Next up we have Heartstopper. This is a God tier series. I think I rated all of them 4 out of 5s, not 5 out of 5, but like I said at the beginning, it doesn't have to be a 5 out of 5 to be God tier. This book and this whole series is so memorable to me. Nick and Charlie have my whole heart. So yeah, I have read this winter, and I bought Nick and Charlie, the actual like novella, because of the series. So that says something. I am not done with their love story yet. I adored this, and I can't see myself forgetting about their story for a really long time. Not to mention, I just saw today that apparently the second season of Heartstopper is coming out next year. So your girl's excited. Moving on, we have A Little Life, and I'm gonna be straight up here. I do not ever plan on reading this book because, one, she's a chunker, and also I know it's gonna break my heart into like 3 billion pieces. So if I can avoid that at all costs, we're gonna do that, because I read a lot of sad books, but if this one is like known for breaking your heart, it's not really something I need right now. So maybe in the future, but right now it is just a not on my TBR, not interested. The last one is the most fun because it is my only, oh boy, One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. Oh boy, friends, this book was not good to me. I have things I could say. I just think that even though this book contains magical realism, there is somewhat of a cheating trope, and I just felt really uncomfortable reading this book, and I've mentioned it in a few other videos. But yeah, this book is going around right now, probably because of summer, and now that it's ending, it's, I'm sure, probably gonna die down a little bit. But I do want to say I love Rebecca Searle, I love her writing style, and I love the ideas that she comes up with. Unfortunately, this book just did not do it for me. So yeah, I read it, I really didn't like it, not for me. Doesn't mean it's not for you though, so definitely check it out. Look up trigger warnings and stuff too, because there is grief of a family member, and like I said, there's kind of like cheating, but it's like magical realism, so yeah, not for me. Alright guys, this is my final ranking of these popular Bookstagram / TikTok books, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said before, this is just my own personal opinion. You guys can definitely have different ones, and honestly, leave them in the comments down below. I would love to have a conversation as to why you would maybe put one of these in a different ranking of your own. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell if you want to see more videos from me, and make sure that they do pop up on your homepage. I really appreciate and love all of you so much, and I will see you guys in the next one.